Back on Get Up, and it's been a tough year for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. They're 4-7. They're 7-point dogs Sunday in Philly. Yesterday with Pat McAfee, Rodgers was talking about his future.
They didn't say, oh, no, it's all ball all the time and blah, 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 bull. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's not the way I am. Like there's life after football. It's been an awesome run. I mean, I'm really proud of what I've accomplished. I'm not like looking forward to the end, and I don't know when that's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be after the season or after 3 more seasons or whatnot.
So that is a man who has been uncertain about his future for some time now and sounds particularly uncertain about it at this moment. Chris Canty, what does all this add up to as you sit and observe what he says and the way this team is playing?
This is going to be Aaron Rodgers' last season in Green Bay, guys. I mean, think about it. You're not paying a quarterback $50 million to miss the playoffs, and that's the reality of what's going to happen this year. The Packers are on the verge of shipping the cars to the crib. Green Bay is done this year, and this is a team that's grossly underachieved, and it's not just because of the development of the young receivers, because that's what everybody wants to fixate on. This is a defense that is absolutely atrocious. They're 20th in EPA, and you wouldn't expect that defense to be ranked so low when they have 8 first-round draft picks on that side of the ball. So it's clear that this is a team, an organization that's devoid of leadership, and now I think it's fair to question whether the relationship between the quarterback and the head coach has soured, keeping in mind that those are the 2 central leadership figures within the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, there have been some moments of going back and forth between Rodgers and Matt LaFleur. It's all been somewhat muddy to understand. Dominique, what do you think of that?
I mean, I think that when you're losing, you're going to have some friction. That's fine. They can argue, but they've shown their track record over the past couple of years to be pretty successful and pretty impressive. It's shocking to me that people are willing to throw away this entire team and lean into a rebuild after what looks like a rough season. I do agree their defense has underachieved. Their offense has underachieved, but they have really good players in all the most important positions, like cornerback. They have one of the best in the league. Left tackle, Bakhtiari, when he's healthy, one of the best in the league. They got Kenny Clark and Rashad Gary, when he's healthy on the defensive line, are very good, along with Preston Smith. And now with Watson, the way he's been playing the past couple of weeks at receiver, they might have found themselves the #1 receiver that they want or that they had hoped for. And I just think that it's absurd to think that you leaned in on Aaron Rodgers, and because so far this season, it's been disappointing that it's time to rebuild altogether. They're not that far off from a championship. They're just having a bad season.
How about Rodgers specifically, Tim? Like, what have you seen? Because the fall off in his play from a guy who's been the best quarterback in the sport for the last several years to what he is right now. What do you see in Rodgers himself?
I think the biggest thing I would say, Greeny, is that I think the thumb injury is probably more significant than maybe we realize, because at times he's missed some throws. I mean, like, we've made a big deal about the receivers and their lack of production, and that's been accurate. There have been times where they've had opportunities to make a play on the football and they just have not. What I thought we would see this year is Aaron Rodgers play at such a level that it would improve or elevate the play of the guys around him with no Davante Adams. But we haven't seen that. I mean, I think ultimately what's happened is the receivers haven't been great, and then Aaron has missed some stuff, whether it's been reads or whether it's been accuracy of throw. So, look, it's just surprising. I think in some ways, because his dominance at the position had been so significant over the last 4 years, I think that in some ways, like, I don't know how you explain this significant drop in terms of production from the quarterback play in Green Bay.
Yeah, he hurt the thumb in London so many weeks ago against the Giants, and he does seem to be constantly holding it. Let me just extrapolate your point all the way through, Chris. If you believe that the time is coming where they need to part ways, are you then one who would be in favor of, when their season is really officially over, when they are mathematically out of this, sitting Rodgers down and playing the young quarterback Jordan Love to see what we have in him for whatever reason? Would you be in favor of that?
Yeah, Yeah, I'd be in favor of seeing what you got in Jordan Love. I mean, you've got your bye week coming up. You've got 4 games after that. See what he can do in that sample size and then make a determination on whether he's going to fit within your long-term plans at quarterback. But regardless of what you find out about Jordan Love, I think the prudent thing for this organization to do is to cut ties with Rodgers. And I get it. Trading him would be a huge cap hit before June 1. It'd be a $40 million cap hit. But we saw the Philadelphia Eagles do that with Carson Wentz last year, and they made the playoffs. They ate $35 million in dead money. We saw what happened with the Los Angeles Rams eating Jared Goff's $25 million in dead money, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Now, I know that Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than both of those guys, but I also know Aaron Rodgers is 39 years old, and we got to stop trying to assign Tom Brady-like longevity and productivity to every single quarterback.
Now, it's going to be a very interesting final stretch. Nick, I'll come back to you, I promise. But let me let you have a little fun here. Let's give this one to Nick because he looks like he needs to have a little fun. Meanwhile, on Planet Earth is brought to you by 365 by Whole Foods Market. This happened last weekend.
That performance convinces him that you guys are Super Bowl contenders. What do you think when you hear the owner of the team talking like that?
I mean, I was convinced before. Yeah, I mean, he tells you guys a lot of things. I'm not going to get caught up on one of his statements. As I said, we laid a brick last week, a pretty good one, but we've got to turn the page from that and make sure that we do that again this Thursday and just continue to progress.
So they're talking Super Bowl in Big D. I just gave you all the numbers and how they historically dominate the Giants and how Dak historically dominates the Giants. I was just told in my ear that Tony Pollard, the Cowboys' outstanding running back, has been named the NFC's Offensive Player of the Week. So certainly no member of this esteemed panel, Dominique Foxworth, Tim Hasselbeck, or Chris Canty, are going to pick the Giants, to win tomorrow. Yes, they will. Chris Canty likes the G-Men. Chris, tell us why.
I love the Giants being able to execute the same playing plan that the Green Bay Packers did a couple of weeks ago, which is come out in big people. 12 personnel, 13 personnel, 21 personnel, and run right at those pass rushes for the Dallas Cowboys along their defensive front. If you look at the New York Giants in the games after their previous 2 losses, they came out and ran the ball 47 times and 44 times respectively. They're going up against a defense in the Cowboys that is 30th in run-stop win rate. The Giants' only path to success in this game is to run the football with Saquon Barkley, the league's second leading rusher. They've got to try to stay on schedule. If you listen to Brian Daboll, that's what he's emphasized. They can't get in a game where they're forced to drop back 35, 40 times. And I think leading with Saquon Barkley not only helps your offense stay on track, but it also keeps that high-powered offense of the Dallas Cowboys on the sideline.
I hear you, and I agree with you on the formula, but it's one thing not to want to throw the ball a lot. It's another thing not to be able to throw the ball a lot, and you just pointed out they've lost another receiver. I mean, the Giants are playing. It's one thing not to have a lot of weapons. At this point, I'm not sure there's any team in the NFL that has less on the outside right now than they do. Dominique, Mr. Canty likes the G-Men tomorrow. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we have drawn the wrong conclusions from the Cowboys' loss to the Green Bay Packers. Yes, the Packers ran the ball well against them, but they also had explosive plays. That's what's going to beat you in the modern NFL, giving up explosive plays. And you know what the Giants have a hard time doing because they are down deep on the receiver depth chart? It's creating explosive plays. Saquon is going to have to do it from the backfield or as a receiver, and they're going to be able to find that one player and focus on him and slow him down. And even though the Green Bay Packers played as good a game against the Cowboys offensively as you can expect, they still entered the fourth quarter down 14 points. So if the Cowboys are able to have a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter, you know what the Giants are not going to be able to do? Outscore them in that period and win. Like, it just seems like it's too tall a task. The Giants are an NFL team with NFL players, so anything could happen, but it's absurd to me to think that they're likely to pull this upset.
Now, they're not just an NFL team. They're a 7-3 NFL team that no one, except I guess Chris Canty, believes in right now. So Tim Hasselbeck, help me here, because we do a feature every now and again called Bad Week or Bad Sign. The Giants looked just awful this past week at home against the Lions. Did you interpret that as just a bad week, or was that a bad sign that the reality is the Giants are what most people have thought they really are all season long?
I actually think that it was just a bad week, but that doesn't mean I'm going to, align with Chris on this in terms of thinking that the Giants are going to beat the Dallas Cowboys, because I think focusing on, the Giants running the football and Dallas maybe, struggling to stop the run at times. Look, that's one thing. The other aspect of it, I think we need to put some respect, behind what Dallas has done offensively. Look, with Dak Prescott as a starting quarterback in his last 21 games, they're averaging 31 points. I think we have to also look at what they are offensively, because even if they're not amazing defensively and you're able to eat up some clock and you're able to keep that offense off the field, and look, maybe you find a way to be more productive than that you were last week against the Lions, you still have to stop this Dallas attack, who, by the way, look, their backup running back, Greeny, you just mentioned it, is NFC Player of the Week. I think they are really good, and I think Dak Prescott's playing at a high level. And so I think you have to consider the balance that the Dallas Cowboys have.
Yeah, Chris, until I found out this morning that you were picking the Giants to win this game, which I respect. I don't agree with it, but I like the pick. And my planned question for you today was going to be, have the Cowboys now established themselves as the team to beat in the entire NFC? What would your answer to that have been?
No. I don't think they're the team to beat. I don't think that they're number 2 in the NFC. That belongs to the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers, respectively. I like what the Dallas Cowboys bring to the party, but I still have concerns about their run defense, Greeny. I really do. And I think this is an opportunity for them to prove me wrong going up against a team that really has no other path to victory other than being able to run the football. So I will say this, the Dallas Cowboys defense is one of the most explosive in the National Football League, but the Dallas Cowboys defense, this team is 1-3 when the Cowboys allow opposing offenses to rush for more than 30 attempts. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out on Thanksgiving Day. But I'm rolling with the G-men in this game.
You have made Dominique do funny-looking things to his face. Go ahead, Nick, final word.
I mean, it's just like the Cowboys, I would say they're number 2 behind the Eagles, but maybe 1B. This running attack thing is something that we've been listening to for a couple weeks now. The Cowboys do have issues slowing down the run, but they're not built that way. If you listen to what Tim just said a moment ago, is they're the highest scoring team in football when Dak is out there. That's the point. They get a big lead or get a lead and then make you one-dimensional. And they have the best pass rush in football. That is how they are built. That's a good way to win modern football games, to score a lot of points and rush the passer really well. Yes, you're going to give up some rushing yards. You can't be great at everything. So if you're going to choose something that you need to work on, then I think in football these days it's okay for it to be the running attack. I'm sure they want to address it, but right now they're a really, really good team, and their only weakness is stopping the run. You'd love to have teams run the ball against you every play, especially when you're outscoring everybody and you average 31 points a game with your starting quarterback. They're in good shape.
All right, everybody stay where you are. We will have much more time in this hour to look ahead to tomorrow's